It's a little cold in here right now. I think I got the sweatshirt on. Welcome to this completely unnecessary podcast for Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. That's Ian Ferguson. Ow, I'm Pat Concha. That's never happened before. Ian hit my finger.
Yeah, that's weird. It's weird.
On the show today, episode 349, we'll be talking about Joy-Con drift, a Billy Mitchell update. We'll be talking about certain writer later on and respond to them. We'll be going over rarity retro video game collecting in the modern era. It was a documentary that came out a year and a half ago that somehow flew past our radar for reasons we'll get into, maybe. And then also Patreon poll topic and voicemails. Ian, how was your Vegas trip? Was great, actually. Talk about a little bit on the exclusive.
Yeah, I did. Vegas trip. I talk all about the mechanical ponies. I'm wearing my Konami shirt. I don't support actual horse racing, just the mechanical ponies. I believe this was sent to me by Evan Grill, so thank you very much for this magnificent t-shirt.
But go to patreon.com.
And he can hear all about the ponies.
At patreon.com/CU podcast. We're pumping out the exclusive ones. We have one more, quote, regular episode to go after this at 350, but we'll still be having content for you all. We'll be having specials, catcher-uppers. We'll be doing voicemail specials. The voicemail will still be operational.
We'll be doing We'll be doing one of our first specials near the end of March.
That's around there, late March, early April. And then also Ian will have the writings going on. We're still doing the hangouts. We're still keeping some fun stuff going. We're just shifting things a little bit here and there. We got some stuff in the mail we got to talk about too. Oh, real quick, Flea Market Madness 47 just came out. Christmas specials, Christmas edition. So I filmed it in December.
Ah, nice.
So people were like, "Wow, it's actually edited near the time you filmed." They're like, "Yeah, that hasn't happened in several years." Absolutely. I stopped editing them just so people out there know, because I was working on the book so much. The first book, I basically was still shooting them because it's easy to shoot them, but editing, putting the time, I didn't have the energy back then to do that. We got a few things. First, this is from Eber. Eber sent me LCD One of Us NES game.
Oh, I really would like to try that LSD. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the game or the LSD itself?
Well, I mean, I've already had
It's a post-apocalyptic adventure. It's on Kickstarter now by Eber Soto. It's a 2D top-down. You're tasked with finding out more about apocalyptic explosion. You trap your enemies by using an everlasting bubble. Take a look, Ian.
Neat.
So there you go. Free advertising for your Kickstarter, Eber. Thanks so much for that promo copy, I guess, early production copy there.
Looks cool.
Next, we have a card from... this is from Mark Thompson. Pat, love the Amico Christmas video. Who didn't? Here is a shirt I designed that I hope you enjoy.
Exciting.
Pleasure meeting you at PRGE this year, from Mark Thompson. And so, oh, it's a medium. It's not a large. We take larges here, but that's okay. I can squeeze into it.
Yes, you can.
We have
I cannot.
Incredible Fiasco shirt in the font of the Intellivision Amico. I pre-ordered a video game console, and all I got was this shirt. Thank you, Mark. That's
funny.
This might have to make it into the rotation for convention shirts, but that's a larger medium. That's like some mediums are a little bit smaller.
You can do it.
I can squeeze it.
Show off your ripples.
Intermittent fasting.
That too.
Salmon and fruit bowl. That's the secret. And then finally, this is from an artist, Wesley Diaz. I found your guys' YouTube channel a few years ago. I'd like to thank you for all the countless hours of entertainment as I often play in your podcast in the background as I do artwork or grind in RPGs. I've included my artwork inside as a token of appreciation. In the back wall of your show, I always see that one Cabbage Patch doll sitting there. I have a hunch you guys might like it. Hopefully, if you do, feel free to share it with the audience. I believe they would too. Thank you. So, this person has done a book in the style of Garbage Pail Kids called Day One Patch Kids. And it's like a modern Garbage Pail Kids, basically.
That's funny.
So it's almost like a coloring book. It's in black and white.
It is, yeah.
So that's great if you want to take a look at that. And then sent us, as well, some cards. I guess put together a card set.
Oh, that's neat as heck.
It's basically like a new, like I said, it's a new sort of thing. Banana Ken. Look at Banana Ken for Street Fighter. It's like video game themed, Ian. There's a whole Street Fighter one on here. There's a toasty one.
Some of those are stickers too.
Oh yeah. Well, Garbage Pail Kids were also stickers.
So there were stickers in there. Yeah.
Sure. So anyway, so this is nice, and this we might have to get this done professionally and framed. Pat and Ian in the Garbage Pail Kids style. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? Isn't that adorable?
That's funny.
Let me show you.
I like that.
Isn't that the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life? How come we never thought of that
Terrifying.
before? Terrifying. That's cute. Come on.
Well, I mean, Garbage Pail Kids are supposed to be like. I like the style, but it's very, very close.
I like our one little teeths. Our one little tooth.
Yes, I like that too.
That's cute as hell.
Because I got fucked up teeth.
Oh, so do I. Thanks, Dad, for the bad teeth. Let me show this one more time. Isn't that adorable?
It's like spot on. I love that.
Yeah. So, thank you so much, Wesley. I seriously, I feel we should get this like professionally painted and like framed.
Oh yeah, yeah. Framed is yes, absolutely.
So we got that going on.
Are those the original pencils?
Yes, this is the original.
I love pencils.
So I feel like getting that. We should probably get it scanned in.
Yep.
And have them completed maybe, or I don't know how that works. Maybe
Agreed.
So we'll do that. Okay, so we'll do that. I put the backing board on it myself in the
nice
bag.
Acid free.
There you go. So we got that going on. What else is happening?
Well, there's nothing left to show from the kind listeners. I had a funny experience with my brother this past weekend.
Met your brother at the wedding. Very nice.
He's a good dude. Stand up, solid.
You don't tell me much about your brother. I don't hear much about him.
He's kind of a private guy.
Sure.
But yeah, no, he's good. So he called me Thursday, or no, he texted me Thursday, and he was like, "Hey, give me a call tonight if you're not busy." I was like, "Work is busy, and I got plans with Vonnie, but can I talk to you tomorrow?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." So I'm like, "I'll call you on my break at work. I'll call you around like 3 o'clock your time." Excuse me. Well, I forgot to. And at like 3 o'clock, my phone rings, and it's my brother. And we'll call him. What will we call him? We'll call him Christian. Christian is like, "Hey, so I have a friend that I work with."
Okay.
I was like, "All right." And he goes, "He's a big fan of the podcast."
Okay.
I was like, "Oh, all right." He's told me about him before. And every time he tells me about him, he's like, "I promise you, he's not like a weirdo. He's not like a weird fan. He just, he's a big fan of the podcast."
Big fan.
And when he found out that, I was he's like, "We were friends." And then he found out that I was your brother, and he was like, "Oh my God."
He freaked out.
So he's like, anyways, I'm working with him the other day. And he tells me, he asked me if I know anything about the Amico drama. And he's like, I have no idea what this is. And he's like, "I feel like I'm a bad brother." He's like, "I don't listen to the podcast." And I was like, that's fine. I don't listen to the podcast either. He goes, "No, I have no idea what it is." So I guess the dude told him about, like, gave him the brief rundown. And he goes, "Ian, I fell down a rabbit hole last night."
Your brother did.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, "I fell down the Amico rabbit hole and the drama." And I guess what he, I guess what the reason why his friend asked him if he had heard of the Amico drama was because I guess his friend had just seen our, like, the video of us slapping back, basically.
Which one?
The one we did last.
Apology?
The one we did last.
You saw us go back against the Shills.
Yeah, last week. Or 2 weeks ago.
Gotcha.
And so Tristan started with that. And he's like, "I watched Pat's Amico Christmas video. I watched the, he's like, I watched you get really, really mad." He's like, which was crazy to see, is like, you, my brother, knowing that you don't ever really get like that, fired up. He's like, "I listened to the video from those guys." He's like, what were they? And my brother wasn't even like talking shit, because my brother's just like, he's a very chill kind of dude. And he's just like, what were they even doing? Those weren't jokes. They weren't telling jokes. He's like, "That's not a joke. Those aren't funny jokes." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, and then he says, "Pat tells jokes. I saw the video. I saw the Amico video, the Christmas video. He's like, Pet's funny. And I was like, well, you don't have to go that far.
I love your brother.
I was like,
say things that Ian will never say.
It's like, you don't have to go that far. He's like, but Pet's funny. Pet's telling jokes. He's like, and these guys, they're not telling jokes. He's like, that's just like bully behavior.
They're talentless jerk-offs.
And bully behavior is exactly it. You know, all of these people, all of these folks were the people that got made fun of in high school. And you can go two ways, because I was made fun of in high school. Lots of people are made fun of in high school. I was. And you go two ways. You either rise above it, or you spend the rest of your fucking life trying to be cool to those same kids.
And then inflicting pain on other people.
Right. You either realize that, you know, this is pointless and it's worthless, or you try so hard to become them. And oftentimes, it's not just people like the bullies in high school. It's like people try to appeal to the same age range. Like, that's what it is.
Real quick, the response to our clapback video was...
We don't need to talk about it.
I'll just say, I thought some people would be a little disappointed in us or think that we were uncouth. It was almost universal acclaim, and people say, you guys deserve to do this. I feel we did a public service by doing it. That's all, Ian. I won't dwell on it.
So anyways, back to my brother. So he's telling me about it, and I guess, so what I'm finding out is, like, he's mostly went down a rabbit hole of the most recent stuff. Oh. And then he did read up on some of the Amico.
Did you tell him we have a whole playlist of all our coverage?
And I told him, you know, and he said he read up on some of the Amico stuff. Obviously, he knows about it and how it was a scam and how it started off and there was nothing ever done. But I asked him, I said, did part of your hole that you fell down involve the H-Bomber guy video? And he goes, no, it's like 2 hours long. I'm like, buddy, it's worth it. He texts me the next day. He's like, wow, that went places. And I was like, and my response was just, he lied about cribs, because they kept focusing on he lied about cribs.
If you lie about cribs, you can lie about everything.
So that was that. I just thought it was funny.
My friend Brian, poker friend, local guy, you'd like him, pretty chill guy. He sent me, hey, Pat, did you see that NFT video, the one from Folding Ideas that came out last year, right when...
Oh, yeah, I think we talked a little bit about it.
It was great. You see, it's like 2 hour video.
Yeah, I skimmed it, but it was good.
Right before the collapse, I mean, the collapse was starting to happen a little bit, but NFTs were garbage, and this video got seen by millions of people.
Yes.
And he said, oh, have you seen this? I said, yeah. I said, yeah, I have a comment on it. That got thumbed up, because I said, this is an important video. So I said... we take for granted they're not, these people are casual people, are not in the YouTube ecosystem. So I sent him the H-Bomber guy video featuring Tommy. I said, if you like a rabbit hole, watch this. Not telling him any relationship that we have with Tommy Tallarico or anything like that.
Right.
And I was like, watch this. And he watched it. And I said, you remember the line about gaming racists? He goes, yeah. I said, yeah, we were the targets of that. We were one of the gaming racists. Yeah,
you did tell me. Okay, right.
And like, he's like, what do you mean? And so it's like people, I guess, don't realize that, like, there's people doing or involved with these things. But like, I had a conversation with my sister the past week on the phone where it somehow got brought up about Tommy Tallarico, because she's saying, hey, what have you been up to? I brought up, oh, Tommy Tallarico stuff and things like that. It's falling apart. And I'm like, I said to her, this is a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company going after me and Ian. Like, this is insane. Like, to us, we're used to it, but it's fucking insane.
CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. But yes.
He's in charge of $17 million up to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, at one point in time, he was.
They had millions of dollars they blew. I mean, so, like, we look back on our careers in the future, we're old, we can be proud of, like, the fact that we, you know, contributed to people finding out about these grifting assholes. This is more of a 350 topic. We'll talk about, like, things we are kind of proud of and things we're not on the podcast.
Oh, sure.
Might be a good Q&A. Good Q&A. What was I saying? Are you warm at all? I'm a little bit warm, but I think this is good for now, the sweatshirt. So didn't go back down the rabbit hole. I was going to say real quick, we don't think it's a rabbit hole because we've experienced it day by day, week by week.
Oh, sure. But if someone has to catch up, they've got days and days and days.
I went on Sean Baby's 1-900 Hot Dog podcast where he had to, like, spend a week and try to catch up.
Right.
And he did a decent job, but I had to fill him in on lots of important things because, like, we know it by heart, all the stuff that happens. This was an exclusive from IGN. Exclusive. They learned from multiple sources that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo would not be part of E3 this year.
Nope.
What a shock. Who could have saw this coming? I don't know, us who've called it for 5 years and everyone else.
Everyone. I mean, I'd love to say we were unique seers in this instant, but we're not. Everyone's been saying it. And when they announced it last year that they were bringing it back with some fucking beautifully disgusting fluff words like the industry needs us now more than ever to bring gaming back together.
No.
You know, and it's like, yeah, and here's the response from every major player in the industry who, like, I mean, what do you have there? You're gonna fucking Ubisoft, Activision?
Yeah, what's left? Blizzard. You said Blizzard, Activision, Ubisoft.
Yeah, I mean, no one.
EA. What are the other big AAAs that would probably come out and make it worth their time? Would they even be like, is this even worth our time anymore to do a panel? Because EA usually does their own presentation, Ubisoft does theirs. You know,
that shit's gonna be dead.
Man, what? 10 years ago, it was still the talk of the town. I went to 3 E3 straight. I went to 11, 12, and 13. And it was like, you had to still go there. And then a few years later, you didn't have to go anymore after that. Man, thank you, Nintendo Directs, for basically opening up this Pandora's box of companies realizing, hey, we can just produce our own shit and just get it out to the masses directly. We don't need an intermediary that's going to take 6 figures of our money, basically, and us putting up tons of money and effort to train people to like show off these games to journalists. It's totally antiquated. Nintendo did a great job. Those ladies were all trained up at the booth the last I went. They all knew their stuff. It was great. But like, that's time and money and effort to recruit, to train. All the costs of materials. You ever go to an E3 booth and see Nintendo's layout, like all the banners and shit, and they have their little special tree area or whatever they hang. Like, that shit all costs money. Like, on top of paying for the space, like the space itself. Like, this is tons of money. This is 6 figures.
Oh yeah, super expensive.
And why do it? To appease some random ass journalists that are coming, that they're going to write something on, I guess, for their website. That's
I don't think any journalists want to do it anymore.
I mean, 10 years ago they still did.
I'm sure.
I was reporting for RetroWare TV back then.
Reporting
for RetroWare TV. I was running the show. I was the man on the street. One year with Eric, that was great. And then Lance went the 1 year, and then I went with someone else another year. I'll talk about it at one point. So anyway, how much longer does E3 have, I guess? I guess you're always going to have like the medium and smaller size companies that are going to try to push their stuff. Hey, we're pushing your capture device for streamers and stuff like that. But can they survive on that and do an event?
I can't believe that an event that ended because no one cared about it was brought back a year later and people thought people were suddenly going to care about it again with some nice words.
Well, obviously the pandemic hurt, not having the pandemic.
Yeah, but it was hurting
before that.
Yeah, it was hurting way before that. I mean, it's been hurting since 2015 at least.
Yeah, 2015, 16, for sure. When the directs became more regular and they're like, oh, we got this thing coming out called the Switch and we don't need E3 to really talk about it. They didn't announce it at E3. They had the big trailer. Remember, it was the fall of 2016 when they had that premiere trailer about it. Before that, it was like, what is this thing? You know. So, all right, that's all I got to say about that. Phil Spencer had a quote here in this article. E3 is just, to me, one of the seminal moments of gaming. I love the history of going down to LA. Thousands of people there getting to see great new things, getting to see people in the industry, the fan events that we've had. I definitely want that to continue.
Everyone's drunk off their memories of it, but it's not.
So like you love the experience, but don't want Microsoft to actively participate in it.
Right.
Well, yeah. We will continue to work with ESA in terms of their plans because they're on the board. Xbox on the board. Even the ESA is antiquated as a thing. You know, they got the ESRB stuff going on, right? And what else? I don't know. They got E3. That's right. Those are the two things.
Yeah,
basically, right?
Yep, pretty much.
Xbox's current plans for the showcase remain unconfirmed, but in previous years, it has held a showcase, preview events, and press mixers. Internally, Xbox has recently suffered layoffs and other cuts, forcing it to tighten its belt following a year that saw virtually no major releases. Yeah, that's bad. A bad look if you lay off people and said, "Oh, we're going to blow all this money, whatever, $250,000, whatever the hell it costs to do an E3 thing, and all the maybe more with all the." Because you go to these events, you get invited to these parties.
Sure, that's
and
a nice way.
Shit.
That's a nice way to frame it. But the reality is they didn't want to do it. None of these big companies have wanted to do it.
Sure. Nintendo has also traditionally maintained a booth on E3 show floor, even after pioneering the direct format. However, IGN has heard from sources that Nintendo is sorting both. They're not going to be there. Not going to be there. PlayStation originally dropped me out in 2019 over reported disagreements with the ESA. Disagreements means money. Usually it means money. We're not going to pay through the nose anymore for this.
Disagreements. Yes.
Give us a discount. Disagreements.
The disagreement is you are way overpricing this stupid event that no one needs to do anymore.
Yep. So does that mean the ESA ceases no longer to exist at some point? Because I had to think that a lot of the revenue is from E3 directly, right?
I don't know.
Someone's got to tell me what the inner workings. Is it like the MPAA? It's like a shadow group. No one knows who's like rating the movies. There's a documentary about that. I don't know if you saw that. But like no one knows who the hell these people, like the people are that actually rate the movies.
No.
Or how the money works and stuff like that.
I knew it was always kind of like shrouded in secrecy, but
you picture a bunch of like old men and women just like watching movies. Oh, my ducky. Tell to your right. You're right. There you go. Thanks. You want to talk about this Mondo Shop, Alien Crush, and Devil's Crush album?
So you put this down, which is nice of you because this is something I'd be interested in.
I thought of you, Ian.
Yes. However,
your brother would say I'm both funny and thoughtful.
Yeah, he would. Mondo, if you did not get a chance to grab the Devil's Crush and Aliens Crush soundtrack, it is back on Mondo in an exclusive colorway. I love the soundtrack. The Devil's Crush main theme is one of the best video game tunes ever written. And the bonuses, because both the Alien Crush and Devil's Crush soundtracks are so short and fit on one side of a record, the composer also threw
Star Soldier.
He threw some of his they say just Star Soldier, but it's some of his Super Star Soldier stuff. So it's really Alien Crush, Devil's Crush, and a good chunk of Super Star Soldier on that vinyl. So
very nice.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. Should we point out that are these things licensed? I mean,
yeah.
They are.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. This is licensed. There are definitely licensed. There are definitely unlicensed soundtracks out there, but everything Mondo
is licensed.
So
okay.
This is not a Mondo release. What they do is they take some releases from other record labels that have proven popular. They'll do their own colorway and they'll distribute it for them. Okay. So they'll sell it through them as a crossover.
Okay.
So this existed, but yes, anyways, anything Mondo is going to sell has been a licensed soundtrack.
Just want to make sure because a lot of the stuff in the scene is obviously not licensed.
It's getting a lot better. It's getting a lot better, but there is definitely still unlicensed stuff.
Sure.
I have a couple that were given to me. Some of them are crazy.
This should have been a topic for episode 350. This DCU reboot.
Oh, DCU reboot that I can't make.
Because the first podcast...
Heads or tails of?
The first podcast episode was literally the birth of the DCU because Man of Steel was not planned to be a huge thing. And then they said, we're going to do Batman versus Superman.
Yep.
And then our first episode was us talking about casting Ben Affleck 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That was the birth of it. And then 3 years later, they took fucking 3 years to make that movie. 3 years later, they came out with Batman v Superman. We got so much hate from DC fans back then. Like it was bad. Like people came at us. We kind of remember that. Like that was it was like full throated back then. It was kind of cute thinking about that. And now here we are, less than 10 years later from Man of Steel, 7 years into the DCU, 7 fucking years only, literally. And the whole thing has fallen apart and is now being rebooted into the DCU, which is a better name because it's MCU.
I can't possibly spend a lot of time on this because I'm not interested. Because this could go on for a long, long time is what I'm saying. If we're not careful, this is a runaway topic.
We'll do 8 minutes.
So Supergirl, we're getting a Woman of Tomorrow movie.
Well, we go in the order. What's like the movies first?
That's the order that I've got here.
Oh, so there's 2 movies remaining that are in the current DCU. They canceled Wonder Woman 3.
Right.
Henry Cavill was thrown out, unfortunately. Very saddened for him because he liked the role.
Yep.
The Rock tried to take over.
Yep.
And they said, who the fuck are you? Get out. Your movie underperformed and you're not as bankable as you think you are, Rock. So that happened. So then they get James Gunn and his partner to come and try to fix this. However, Shazam 2 still is coming out in a month or two. That's on the docket. That's not in this new universe. They're not sure. Then Flash comes out, which is going to do a reboot, but we're not sure if it reboots everything. Okay? Follow me. Aquaman 2 is still scheduled to come out later in the year. They're not sure if that's going to be part of the DCU or not. Or if that's going to be
just be the last vestige of the old DCU.
Exactly. But Jason Momoa says he still wants to play Aquaman. But might want to play Lobo as well, which is a villain. So, this is where we're at. This is a fucking disaster. And I don't think, in my opinion, any fixing that they attempt to do is ever going to get this where they want it to be because of that.
No, you just need to fucking scrap this shit. Raise it to the... I mean, I don't know why they always say they're going to do that, and then they try to fucking intertwine all... It's insane.
So now they're picking and choosing what's going to be a part, because they already filmed the Blue Beetle movie's been filmed. They filmed that last year. So that's going to be part of the DCU.
I thought that got canceled.
No, they filmed it.
No, I know they filmed it, but I thought they announced that they thought they were going to do the Batgirl thing.
Oh, no, they're still doing that.
Okay.
Remember, Batgirl got, unfortunately, thrown into the garbage can after it was done.
As a tax write-off.
That's disgusting. Hopefully, I'm hoping that James Gunn and them can actually at least put on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, but no, they want the tax write-off. I think that's literally it.
Then pay the tax back. You're depriving us of Brendan Fraser as a villain.
Yes, you are.
Come on. And he's got nominated for an Oscar. You're killing me here. So all that's happening right now. Now you can go into the slates. Oh, shit.
So where did I put it? We've got every movie, everything announced. Superman Legacy, which is going to be a reboot.
So new Superman 2 years from now, 2025.
It will mark the start of the DCU, but it's not an origin story.
Oh my God. Okay.
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Is that a movie?
Yes, that's a movie.
Okay.
Brave and the Bold will exist alongside Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Okay. So the Robert Pattinson Batman is going to be Elseworlds. So they're going to that and probably the Joker sequel. That are separate things. I don't hate that idea.
I don't either, just because it means we'll get the Batman 2, which they announced.
I still haven't seen that. I still haven't seen that first Batman movie.
It's good. Doesn't feel as long. I mean, it's a long movie, but it doesn't drag.
So Brave and the Bold will be Batman and his son. I guess in the comics, his son is growing up to be like a Robin type of character.
Nightwing. Damian is Nightwing, I believe.
Damian became Nightwing? The first Robin was Nightwing.
Oh, that's right. You're right. It's not. Yeah. What is Damian now?
He's just like a mini Batman.
He's another Robin. You're right.
Basically the fourth Robin. So I don't have any interest in that. I'm just saying I'd rather see a Nightwing team up with Batman, but that's okay. What the hell's the Authority? That's feature film to be a turn. What the hell is that? What's the Authority?
I don't know.
That's down here too. Well, what's next year?
Paradise Lost, which will be a reboot, I believe, of Wonder Woman. Booster Gold is an HBO Max series. I don't know anything about Booster Gold.
Booster Gold is sort of like Iron Man-ish, creates his own tech suit.
Gotcha.
Usually teams up with Blue Beetle. How do I know more about that than you? But it's interesting because it's like they did a blue and gold run. They both team up.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of people are like, oh, that's a cool thing. They're both more down to earth.
And that's going to be an HBO Max series. Is that going to be animated or live action?
I hope not.
If it's animated, I feel like it could potentially be great. DC's animated stuff has been good.
That's the first thing I've been interested in on this list so far. It
doesn't say it's animated because Creature Commandos, which is next, is announced as an animated series. I know nothing about it. Waller, an Amanda Waller series could be somewhat interesting. I don't know that I'll watch it, but I think it could be interesting. But again, though,
isn't that just Suicide Squad? Like, what is she going to do?
It probably would let her act. I think you would get Suicide Squad with a larger rotating cast of characters, I think is what it's likely going to be.
A Suicide Squad type of series? Okay. I haven't seen Peacemaker. I heard it's good with Cena. I haven't seen that.
Neither have I.
Peacemaker's going to be in the DCU because that's obviously James Gunn running that. So he's like, right, that's going to be in there. What else we got? Lanterns. Okay. That's appealing to have rotating lanterns and things like that because there's tons of Green Lanterns you can have. That's good. It's going to be Hal Jordan, John Stewart. Okay, everyone's going to love that then. You got the OG and you got the current one that everyone likes. That's fine.
Swamp Thing.
People like Swamp Thing. I never got into it.
Morrison's Swamp Thing is great. It's described as a horror film that will mark the end of DCU's Chapter 1. Sure.
Okay, here's the Authority. The Authority is kind of like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men, saying that they know that you want them on the wall, or at least they believe that. So I guess it's a bunch of authoritarian superheroes? Is that basically what it's going to be? Okay. I never heard of that. And then you have the Batman Part 2, which is Elseworlds. There's going to be a trilogy of that. There's a Penguin series based upon... I got to see this movie. Frank DVR'd it. I got to see that. Okay, so... And supposedly there was an article that came out that already the DC higher-ups are not happy with James Gunn being so outspoken on Twitter and in interviews, basically like criticizing what's happened before, and the people are still there, the company saying like, basically calling out Zack Snyder a bit and saying like, you know, you don't give one person the keys to all this and then sit back and which is true, yes. But you got to be a little more political now that you're, you know, part of Warner Brothers and all that.
Sure.
But, so basically now we have then almost like nothing's going to happen next year then, because it starts in 2025.
Yeah, it looks like nothing's happening.
So when's Blue Beetle going to come out then? Because that's been done, I think. Blue Beetle movie. That's this year. Blue Beetle, according to this.
Yeah, so, that would make sense.
But that was part of the old guard, basically. So Blue Beetle comes out. I'm kind of shocked that... Oh, it's August. I'm kind of shocked that's going to be a movie. No one knows about Blue Beetle, really. That's going to be kind of a risky thing.
Could be fun. No one knew about Shazam, and the first Shazam movie was good.
Come on, people knew about Shazam. They had a series in the 70s that's older. As old as
I mean, they knew, but I'm just like, it's not exactly recognizable. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I mean...
Yeah, but Marvel has a better track record.
Sure.
Marvel, its track where we always talk about Guardians of the Galaxy was a risk because no one knew who they were, but the marketing was great and things like that. We'll see about Blue Beetle. It's a kid from the Karate Kid series that does a good job. Kid, he's probably like 22 by this point. They're finally ending. Season 6 is going to be the last of season 6. Holy shit, of Karate Kid, the new one of Cobra Kai.
I gave up after season 2.
I think they could have done it in 4 years and then called it a shot. Because it's 6 years. These are supposed to be high schoolers. It's like you know what I mean. It's a syndrome of come on, they're getting too old to be high schoolers. But 6 years is enough. They've retread enough of it. I thought 4 seasons they should have been done. But season 5 was like, what did they have left to say besides I got the old Karate Kid 3 villain, who was great, by the way. But at that point, there's like nothing left. There's nothing left. You
know, as I'm watching it, it's like, I see where this is going. You know, this good kid's going to go bad and black. And I liked the first 2 seasons for what it did. But as soon as I saw like where they were going to drag it out, it's just... It's an old story,
and it's been less and less Johnny. Johnny was like super heavily featured the first year or two, and he's just sort of been thrown to the back. And it's like he was what people got into was the concept of him, the villain, like seeing his side story, and like that's been sort of lost.
Oh yeah, then I really would have no interest.
He's more like sharing it more with LaRusso, and then everything. Like they're more 50-50 by season. I mean, they're kind of on season 2. All right, what else is going on here? GoldenEye came out on Xbox and Switch. There's been people talking about it, how the emulation isn't the same on both, and it's different. The control scheme on the Switch is a little wonky because it's different with the Joy-Cons versus N64 controller. So you have to like go into the Switch options to change the loadout of the buttons themselves and switch it. It just sounds like it's annoying as hell.
Sure.
It sounds like you have to like really use a Switch Pro controller or some sort of proprietary one. Carl Jobst got a hold of the N64 official re-release for Switch Online. He said it's trash, basically, because they use what I thought they probably did. He said that the thumbstick is more closer to like the replacement or like GameCube thing versus an N64. It doesn't feel the same.
Right.
So you can't play it the same at all.
Right.
So you would know, he's a speedrunner. He would know what it feels like. So I guess like you have to find a third-party solution that would work to play it versus the Joy-Cons. That's what it sounds like. So I mean, I should probably try it. And I think they said the online on Switch is a lot better. It's not locked at 30 frames per second, but it's not like the 4 frames a second.
Oh, sure.
But the whole point is the emulation is really bad. It's still on N64.
Yeah.
Nintendo has not put the money in to probably get it done correctly still.
You know, it is done correctly, ultimatenintendo.com.
Why is it done correctly, Ian?
You tell them. It's your website. I got you there.
You make money off the stuff we sell.
I got you there.
We got the CU Podcast t-shirts, the limited t-shirt. We got the CU Podcast enamel pin. We got my fat face on a pin in my hair. RBI baseball stickers. Someone bought 3 of them last week.
Wow. What are they doing with 3 of them?
I don't know, Ian. Keepsaking them.
Keepsaking them.
We got certain NES and Super Nintendo guidebooks behind me. You know, I'm jealous of people doing their own books, but I got my own right there. And we got lots of other stuff going on. I'm on Twitch Wednesday, Twitch Wednesday, twitch.tv/ContraCode. Ian will not be there this Wednesday.
Unlikely.
That's like an NBA injury. It's questionable.
Questionable.
It's not out. He's questionable to return. You should do your prediction every week. He's questionable to be on part of the stream. NES app. Go get it. If you had it before and you hated it before or thought it was sloppy, version 3.0 of the NES app is out on Google Play Store. And
it's so much nicer.
It's so. Do you have it?
No. I'm going based on what people have told me.
I can comp you a code, Ian. I know the guy doing it.
All right, maybe I'll have to look that up.
Speaking of Nintendo and Joy-Cons, what a segue. I'm on cameo.com/PatCountry, but no one's really doing Cameo anymore. That seemed like Cameo had its day in the sun for a year, and like now people don't do it
anymore. I feel like
it's played out, Cameo.
I feel like that was probably a big thing during
pandemic.
When you couldn't like deliver people regular gifts and stuff like that. Something to brighten someone's day.
I was getting one a day for a while. And then
maybe it's also one of those things where like when you start it, you get a bunch of people who have wanted you to do that will do it. And then after that, you know, I can't imagine there's an ongoing market for it.
Sure. This is from Eurogamer. We love Eurogamer. Vicky Blake, contributing writer here. American judge dismisses Switch Joy-Con drift lawsuit here. American judge has dismissed a lawsuit filed against Nintendo for its Joy-Con drift issues, saying the case cannot proceed because the owners agreed to Nintendo's end-user license agreement, EULA. That disallows
those EULAs.
The click-through things. This is one of the things that's going to come up in the WADA lawsuit as well. The click agreements. Despite attempts to argue that underage children who use the handle system cannot enter into the agreement, the federal judge ultimately ruled that the agreement was with the de facto owners, the parents. That legally makes sense, and not the children who actually use the console. Consequently, the judge dismissed the action, saying that the parents should have entered legal arbitration rather than a lawsuit as instructed by the EULA. So there you go. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's shitty. Companies got to stop releasing bullshit. But, I mean, that's... Unfortunately, we agree to all of this sort of stuff. Yeah, we don't realize it, but like when we click through that shit, you're giving away your right to do a lot of stuff with these companies.
Sure. Nintendo, to their credit, has tried to make right for the, fixing the Joy-Cons. You send them in, they replace them.
Sure, but it was a bad problem. It's just like Microsoft tried to make right for the Red Ring of Death, but it was a disaster.
Well, I wouldn't put that in the same scale, but yes, the Red Ring was disastrous.
Yes.
I mean, people's console fucking blowing up. But Ian got a lot of money out of that because he could fix...
I did.
It kept you in bonuses for years.
I was good at it, and it did. It kept me in bonuses for years.
I'd call Ian. Hey, Ian, how many you got? I got like 3 or 4 today. I got to fix.
The most I ever fixed in a day was 12.
Holy shit!
And that literally, to do that in my work day, that required a constant. Because I never did more than one at a time.
Okay.
Absolutely never do more than one at a time when you're working.
Why? It's just too much to keep track of?
Because it's too much to keep track of. All the pieces as you disassemble.
You can't automate it? Okay.
You can, and I did it a couple times, but both times I did more than one. I did like 3 at a time, and it was like, no, I'm never doing this again. It was too stressful. But that required me to like just constantly have them in motion all day to get 12 done. And I made a good bonus.
Bonus.
Yeah, I got cash off the top for those.
All right, good for you. So then you like Microsoft there. So anyways, that sucks. And then we have an update. Speaking of our pal Carl Jobs.
Oh yeah, so this is a good one. So was he the one to break this info, or did someone else break it and he made the video on it?
I think someone revealed the pictures online.
I was going to say.
Event.
Okay. Anyways, Carl Jobst released this video. It's a Billy Mitchell update. It is 13, almost 14 minutes long. You can listen to the dreamy voice of Carl Jobst if you'd like and watch the whole thing.
Dreamy, huh?
However, the part that I want to focus in on, I think the part that is, the most important here is he's showing pictures from when Billy Mitchell set the Donkey Kong high score, the record. And what is important here is when you're looking at these pictures, and I'm honestly surprised no one's brought this forward sooner, the joystick on the Donkey Kong cabinet that he played on, and that's proven by the fact that it's got the camera pointing at it and the VCR on top of it, which is how they recorded it. And of course, that footage is mysteriously gone.
Oh, it is? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. No one knows where that footage is. He's using an 8-way joystick.
It's not an official.
Yeah, it's not an official
four-way
joystick. It's a taller red joystick, and it's not a 4-way. This alone would be grounds to just discredit it because you're supposed to be playing on original hardware or at least the same specs.
Yes.
It's the same spec hardware. And I knew a little bit about this, but not a ton. Apparently, one of the reasons why an 8-way joystick might be used is in the original Donkey Kong, 4 ways. If you're on a ladder, you can affect the flow of the barrels by pressing left or right, but you have to stop. You have to stop on the ladder.
You have to stop to do it.
You have to stop on the ladder to do it. With an 8-way joystick, because you can push to the diagonal, which will cause it to alter the direction of the barrels as you're moving up. So it's a way to save time.
You're fundamentally changing how to play.
Yeah, you're fundamentally changing how you're playing the game. You're adding a brand new tactic to it that will get you to the goal quicker the more you use it, essentially.
Or being able to avoid trouble.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of things you can do like that. Okay. So being that this score is one of the basis of this lawsuit, if this is entered into evidence, they'd be like, yeah, well, this is clear evidence that your score was bullshit.
Yeah.
That by the rules of Twin Galaxies, your score is disqualified. That's before you get into any other claims, like did he actually do the score at the event? Like you said, the footage has disappeared. All these affidavits, the affidavits that corroborates up the videos, like people are like, yeah, I remember him being at the event and someone saying he got the high score, but like, why is there, this is a smoking gun where like even if he got the score, it has to be tossed.
Right.
I just think it's funny that I guess what was that from 2018? When was that year that this event happened? That it takes this amount of time for photos to surface. Did Billy Mitchell not know that someone took photos of the cabinet at the event where this allegedly took place? This whole thing is a shit show in general.
Yeah. Yes.
It's insane. And then he still has a couple of lawsuits, 1 or 2, I forget, against Carl Gauguin in Australia. And like at some point, the money has to run out for these lawyers, hopefully. And at some point, like this has to come to an end. This old guard of middle-aged arcade players trying to grasp onto their legacy quote from the 80s.
What bothers me so much is like to even get to this point where you could create this kind of drama, you have to be a pretty damn good video game player on your own. I'm sure Billy Mitchell plays video games pretty damn well. Like, if you just put him in front of a Donkey Kong machine, I'm sure he plays a mean fucking game of Donkey Kong. What was his name?
Todd Rogers.
Todd Rogers was clearly a good video game player.
Sure.
But then you get this far, and it's like, you're lacking so much in your life that this is clearly the most important thing. And, like, it's not enough to just be good. You've got to cheat it, because Billy Mitchell, ostensibly would be in the conversation of best Donkey Kong players. Yes. He does like it's not like he wouldn't get attention and stuff like that. He'd have opportunities to go to the conventions and and talk to people. Dude, you could be living a pretty good life. It's just someone who's good at video games, who got big in the classic record scene, and not a bad way to live. But you gotta just. People they never get enough.
It's hubris. But isn't that all cheaters though? For the most part, they're usually pretty damn good.
Yeah, you're right. They're good. They're just not getting enough. A good card cheater has to be good at the card game to begin with.
Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer before he took steroids. Before he had one injection allegedly of steroids, he was a Hall of Famer.
I can't believe that. That's just ridiculous.
He was going to get 500 home runs, 5-tool player like Willie Mays, who had been heralded as one of the greatest players ever, and now his legacy is tainted. Obviously. The chess player we talked about last year, probably a really damn good player, would destroy me in a match, but allegedly feels a need to cheat to push you over the top. And it's human nature is disappointing. What am I going to say? There's a lot of weakness in the human condition where you have to put yourself over the edge by cheating other people. I hate to say it, that's how we've evolved, and it's kind of disgusting. It just is. People that don't tell the truth about past events, people that maybe twist the truth, maybe people that maybe project their feelings onto others in a competitive nature, which will segue into the next topic.
Here we go.